Here is how you close indecisive people. You know the customers where you just brought right up, but you just can't quite get them over the finish line. And they give you objections like, you know what, the damage doesn't look like it's that bad. I don't want to file a claim. Or if you're selling retail, they'll say things like, hey, you know what, I just want to wait until next year. Or we can get a few more seasons out of our roof. Or they want to proceed with the repair or the cheapest route instead. So what I'm going to teach you is how to deal with those folks that you've brought right up to right here. And then what happens is they've shifted from an emotional place to this place of logic and analytical thinking. And what they're thinking is, you know, the math just ain't mathin'. And I just don't know if this makes sense. So what we're going to learn how to do right now is to draw out all of their issues, address them one by one, and then help them cross the finish line. Because if you are a sound salesperson who's operating out of a place of a true desire to help others, then I know that feeling. When you encounter someone like this gentleman named Gerald, I'll never forget him. He's one of the most memorable customers I ever had. Gerald was in his late 80s. And I first met Gerald, didn't know his name at the time, when he was mowing his lawn. I left a customer's house. I was doing about 3 or 4 roofs in the neighborhood, all due to a hailstorm. And I saw Gerald's roof. He's an older guy. It's 3-tab roof. He's in terrible shape. There was not one shadow of a doubt in my mind that this gentleman was going to need to pay for a new roof in the next 5 years or so. And if he didn't take advantage of this hail damage that he had, he would be paying out of his hard-earned money on a fixed income towards the end of his life on a new roof that is crazy expensive. So I walked up to Gerald. Now, I gave him my little spiel, and he kicked me off his property. So a few days later, I was back in the neighborhood serving other customers. I see Gerald again. Instead of mowing his lawn, he's doing some yard work. Guess what? He kicked me off his property. Third time I see Gerald. He didn't even give me the time of day. He was so mad that I was there a third time, he waved me off. On the very 4th visit, I finally was able to connect with Gerald and say, hey, Gerald, listen, I don't care whether you do anything with me or not. What I'm here to do is to help you figure out what's going on your roof. And I mean, no offense by this, but I don't imagine that you're going to be climbing up on there to take a look. What I'm here in the neighborhood doing after serving 4 of your neighbors, and I mentioned their names, is helping them replace their roof due to this hailstorm. All I'm offering to you is to take photos and videos so you can see the condition of your roof and you can say, Adam, get the heck off my property, never show up again, and I promise I never will. Or if we find some things, I'll walk you through your options, whether you work with me or someone else. Gerald then said, okay, I take the pictures, I show it to him. He was shocked. He ended up filing a claim. We did the work. Him and his wife absolutely loved me. They invited me over for dinner. And then at a second visit, when they paid me the final check, they gave me an entire gift basket of homemade canned goods. I knew in my heart of heart that what I had done was help Gerald cross the finish line. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been of service to him. He would have been without the roof he needed. It was incredibly rewarding, and best of all, I earned a customer in a memory who paid me with a thank you note. I love those when people hand you a check and say thank you for your service. So what I'm going to teach you in this video is how to collect more thank you notes to convince the people that you know you can help, that need your help when you're right on the finish line and they won't get knocked over. All right, before we jump to it, quick welcome or welcome back. Adam Bensman here. And everything that I do here on this channel is designed to help you and your team smash your income goal and give every customer an amazing experience. And I upload 2 shorts a day and I upload new videos every single week. So click the subscribe button and the bell and don't miss a thing. It'll help you and your team make a bunch of money. Now let's get started. All right, before we get into how we're gonna overcome the objections to knock people over the edge, we actually have to jump to the beginning of the sales appointment. What I'm gonna teach you is a simple process of bookending, and bookending meaning how something starts and how something ends. So for this technique to be effective, I want to teach you a new little habit to open up your sales appointments. And that's by stating what I call your mission and purpose. So Mr. Homeowner, before we get started today, my mission and purpose is 3 things. Number 1 is to understand your roof and your needs. Number 2 is to show you your options. And number 3 is to help you make a decision, even if it's not with me. Now, once we go through our presentation and our whole spiel, let's say at this point we are right up on the edge. We have that customer that gives you the objection. I want to wait another year. The damage doesn't look like it's that bad. I don't want to file a claim. This person liked you. They were engaged in the entire presentation. And they're right up at this point, and again, the math ain't mathin'. They're just like, something in my logical brain says I don't need to do this. So what we need to do is just take a shift away from emotions for a minute and dive deep into logic. What we're going to do is an exercise with this homeowner called the worst case, best case scenario. First, we're going to acknowledge, reassure, and overcome the objection when they say, hey, I want to wait. And we're going to do this using the ARO objection handling formula. I've done an entire video series in my playlist. Jump into that if you want more. It's called Objections Playlist. You'll find it. And I cover a bunch of common objections and teach you the formula. So for the sake of brevity in today's video, we just want to acknowledge them first before we transition to this. So Mr. Homeowner, listen, I understand that you don't want to move forward on your claim. It sounds like in your mind, hey, the damage isn't that bad. Why would I go through this? And let's just see if we can get another year out of the roof. By the way, same applies for storm and retail. So Mr. Homeowner, as I mentioned in the beginning, I said that my mission and purpose was to understand your roof and your needs, show your options, and again, help you make a decision even if it's not with me. So to fulfill upon that mission and purpose, what I'd love to do with you is just outline two things. I'm gonna grab a piece of paper right now, sit down with the homeowner and say, let's outline the worst case scenario, or all the cons, and the best case scenario of doing this, and all the pros. I wanna hear from you where your thought process is. I'll address each of these as I can. No matter what you decide is up to you. Does that sound fair? Great, let's go. Now at this point, I'm always gonna start in the cons, the worst case. What's the worst case scenario that you do this, okay? In the worst case scenario, okay, in this, and what you've done is you've drawn out all of their objections. They're likely gonna be things like, I have to pay for it. Maybe if it's retail, I have to pay my deductible if it's storm. My insurance rates might go up. We don't know if we need a new roof. We can get another year out of it. That's all worst case. What's the cons? I have a new roof, okay? It's going to be like one or two things. So now what we're going to do is go through this list line by line and address all of the worst case scenarios that the homeowner has shared with us. If they say things like, yeah, I have to buy a new roof, I can explain, hey, due to the rate increases that we've experienced in the roofing space since 2020, we're seeing rate increases from 7 to 12% per quarter, which means the price of roofing is doubling every 5 years. And a $15,000 roof, if you wait 1 year, can cost you $5,000 to $9,000 more. And interest rates are going pretty much nowhere but up. So if we do this today or sooner, you're going to end up saving $5,000 to $9,000. Would it be worth $5,000 to $9,000 for you to get another year out of your roof? And again, most people with a brain are going to say no. And then again, next one, my insurance premiums will go up. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, listen, I completely understand you're concerned about your premiums going up. And I have bad news and some good news. Bad news is your premiums will likely go up whether you decide to do something or not, because all the claims in the area will jack your rates up. You know, home insurance is like health insurance. You don't ever say, hey, great, you didn't use your health insurance this year. So guess what? It went down. It just goes up and up and up. So you can either participate in, you've paid your premiums for a service and take advantage of it, or you can have your premiums go up and not take advantage of it. Which one would you prefer? So again, those are just a couple of examples. I don't want to exhaust this list, but I'm going to go down one by one and then move on to the pros or the best case outcome. And you feel free to add in cons first and pros. What you don't want to do is only add in the best case scenario. You want to add some cons to them, even if they didn't voice it, so you can then tackle those. Now, when you work with a homeowner to spell these things out, what you're doing, just like I did with Gerald, is I took his analytical brain of, I don't need a new roof, who's this guy? You know, these people are getting a roof, my roof's fine, it's not leaking, which logically all makes sense. And I just gave him enough of a different perspective to push him over the edge. So that's what the worst case, best case scenario is. And it's so important that you write it out with them. Make the list. Don't talk through it. Write it all out and address them one by one. Tell me all the worst case scenarios. Let's just hit them all. All right, and what else, Mr. Homeowner? And what's the best case scenario? And then you say, I'm gonna add a couple here. Worst case this, best case this. Let's go through them one by one. I'll help you make a decision. Do this on your very next appointment, and I wanna hear from you. Come back in the comments section below and show me how you were able to take that person who is right here and cross them over the finish line so you can provide the service that you know they needed and collect a big old thank you note right at the end. Hey, thanks for joining me in this video. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and jump into my free training center. I have an offer for you. And listen, there's no catch. You can get in right now and I have binge-worthy content, whether you're an owner, a manager, a rookie, or a seasoned veteran. And if you're someone who wants to take your closing skills to the next level, then I'd love to join you in the trenches to not only get my sales system in your hands, everything to say and do in the house from the minute the door opens to closing not only with a deal, but a pocket full of referrals. And then to join me in live interactive sessions every other week and get live daily support from me through your sales questions. Well, it's all waiting inside the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance. So click the link to learn more and book your application call. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.